to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today is a sponsored show, sponsored by the Interior Design Standard. I want you to think about efficiency for a second. When you hear the word efficiency, what comes to your mind? Is it getting more organized? Is it getting better at your job? Is it something that happens by accident as you gain more experience and start learning the ins and outs of your business? Or is it something you plan for and you put into place with tools and systems that drive you forward and keep you on track? Well, my guest today takes efficiency to a whole new level, and she has for as long as I've known her. If you've been listening to the show for a while, then you already know all about my friend, Sandra Funk, the CEO and principal designer of House of Funk. Sandra is also one of the co-authors in my upcoming book, A Well-Designed Business, the Power Talk Friday Experts Volume 2, so get ready for that in November 2020. But if you are new to the show, I want to explain to you that when I say that Sandra is efficient, I am not talking about your average Joe run-of-the-mill efficiency. No, ma'am. No, sir. Sandra is the kind of person who approaches every situation with her eyes open to see what she can learn, what she can take away, and how she can apply it to her business or life, whether it's a project that a little nuance that she has to make a tweak on and it'll make it better the next time. This is the kind of attention that Sandra pays to everything she does, okay? And the thing about Sandra is she doesn't just learn it for herself. With every bit of knowledge that she takes in, her wheels are always turning and are always turning on how can she turn around and share it with the industry, whether it's our weekly design sip show, her blog for her newsletter and blog with tips for interior designers, or it is with this interior design standard, okay? Now, after 20 years in business, she certainly has a ton of information and a ton of expertise, and she's gained accolade after accolade. She has been featured in Elle Decor, House Beautiful, The Huffington Post, Apartment Therapy, Aspire Design and Home, and Luxe Interiors and Design. She's also in the middle of becoming an accredited professional for the Sustainable Furnishings Council. All right, so all of this experience, she grows, she changes, she pivots, she improves, and she shares. And the truth is that her business is a well-oiled machine because of this, all right? And now she is offering this well-oiled machine to you. Okay. If you listened to Sandra's last episode, you know that she was just about to launch the interior design standard then. The standard is unlike anything else out there. Sandra has put together an actual template for designers to utilize her own personal systems and processes, the actual systems and processes. Okay. This is not a fluff program. It includes everything from the systems and processes to client communication templates, payment structures, agreements, documents, everything. Okay. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to hear about this first launch. We're going to hear what she's learned, what she's changed because of it, because this is what she does, and the reaction of the community that she has been building with the interior design standard. Okay. And I want to say to you, commitment to you, the interior designer, is shared by our show sponsor, Monogram. That's right. Please, I hope you, if you have not taken a moment yet to go over and join their designer program, please do that. Go to monogram.com LuAnn. All right. Once you join the designer program there, then Alex and the rest of the team are going to be there to interact with you, to help you understand how, Monogram can be a part in your next client's project. Okay. All the help, all the information. They want to share it with you so that you're successful in your next kitchen renovation or build. All right. Monogram.com/LuAnn. All right, let's have our little chat here with Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am too. I'm really looking forward to, because as much as I do get to talk to you through the projects at Window Works here and there, mostly Kimberly's handling those now, right? But between that and we have our little random Zoom cocktail parties, I haven't had a chance to really find out from you what is going on with the Interior Design Standard and how your first launch went this past spring. So tell me about it. What happened? Did everybody love it?
Awesome. Yes. So we, I think you remember we were speaking about our timelines and our launch and, all best laid plans. And then 2020 hit, and we got this outpouring of requests from people that were excited about the standard to deliver it ASAP, because we all thought we were going to be home for 2 weeks. Remember?
Yes.
So we had all this outpouring of rush, and we were like, okay, we don't, we're home from client sites and sales calls, so let's do it. Let's rush this thing out. So we worked around the clock and we launched it a month early.
Wow.
And we were so excited to put this product out into the world in this program and get it into everyone's hot little hands. We have had an incredible first group of people go through the program. As I always say, you can just imagine the ferocity, the confidence, the just the entrepreneurial chutzpah that you must have had to invest in yourself on the front edge of a pandemic and to do something so good, like really take your business up a notch. So again, this group of people I just think they're so fierce. They're so amazing, and we've had a blast. It's been awesome.
That's insane. I love it. And I remember that when we were talking, right? We went for that walk and we like sat there on Instagram and talked about it. And you were saying to me, yeah, we got to get this thing out. And the thing is, I know for you guys that last minute, and like you said, you rushed it and put it out a month before, but you had been building it for 18 months. So it wasn't like this idea that we have to put to fruition in a month. It was just a matter of getting all of that together and really doing the final launch sequence. So I'm sure that the product itself was ready to go. And so these first class, right? What are you calling them, at a class? Like a first class? What are you doing?
I don't know. I guess it's the first group that went through. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think of it as a class so much, because I don't know. It's not theory, right? It's like templates. It's the exact words that we use. It's the exact program. So I don't know. I struggle with that. But yes, class and members and things like that. Yeah. So the first group, the first members that went through.
Okay. And so tell us about it. Now, one thing that whenever I have done anything, whether it was doing the very first Power Talk Friday event or doing LuAnn Live for the very first time, I always have this vision in my mind of the way it goes, and I will play it over and over leading up to it. Like from the morning, what is it like when I get up in the morning? What's going to happen when I walk in and see the first, podcast listeners there, and what's going to happen at lunch and what's going to happen in dinner? And I visualize the whole thing, and then when I'm done, I'm like, yes, that was exactly how I wanted it to be. So tell me, I know you're also a big visualizer. Did it live up? Did the experience and the reactions and the learnings of the designers that went through the standard the first time? Tell us what you learned.
It did. It lived up. And I definitely visualized, kind of opening this program and building this community and, sharing and hearing that back from everyone. And I was blown away. I had one of those moments where we got the first kind of emails like started rolling in before we'd even gotten on a Zoom call with everyone, before we'd even, gotten together on the Facebook group. And it just was a couple of emails saying, this is exactly what I needed, and like, they're just these things about people saying, I've been in this industry, I've been struggling along. I just binged watched every video. I'm now going back to the beginning and I'm going to carefully start the execution, but I am so glad that I took this step, and it's just, I mean, there were some tearful moments of just these people being so, so excited, to kind of have that key, have that VIP pass to the express lane.
And I want to just double check with you is there is either a designer who is fairly new and hasn't developed their own systems, to run their projects and the back end of their business. And then there's also the designer that has been doing business, whether it's 5 years, 10, 20 even, and is just fed up with not having it locked down. And to those designers, I said, if you want to know the exact roadmap, take this turn, go that way, do this, then the standard is for you. If you just are looking for someone to help you take what you've been doing for 2 months or 2 years or 20 years and put it to a system, then that's not this, right? This is, right? Okay, so this is literally... I like how I often have described it when I've talked with designers is, if you wanted to have the best coffee shop ever, and you said, I want to have Sally's coffee shop. And I might say to you, well, do you have an idea? Do you know what kind of coffee you want to use? Do you know what kind of cups? Do you know what kind of decor? And if it's yes, 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 but I'm overwhelmed and I'm not sure how to do it, then this is, this is not that, because this is Starbucks. This is the coffee. These are the cups. This is the decor. This is how it's going to go. And when you open day one, it will make money because it's proven, right?
Yes, and it's rolling, and right. It's all the question marks are answered and put in front of you. And so I had that same kind of conversation. I was standing at an event with another designer, and she was asking me some questions about the standard, and it was very clear to me. She's like, "Oh, I love doing it this way, and I have that locked down, and this thing, and I just have I'd love to get a little bit more efficient at this, or I need a little help with knowing who I should hire next." And yeah, that's somebody else, right? She's totally got it locked down, and she just needs a little catapult or a little a little specialty here and there.
Right.
But what I have found, and it's funny because we have everyone from changing careers, really intelligent, smart lady who is coming into design fresh and knows enough to know from her previous business life that she needed something like the standard. So perfect for her. She needed an entree into this entire world of design and how to set it up from square one. And then there's a 40-year veteran in design who is incredible, and she is really setting herself up for the next chapter, and like I remember talking with you were doing succession planning, you were doing like a whole revamp of all of your business systems for that same kind of idea, right? Like, what do the next 20 years look like? And it shouldn't be me with it all in my head. And so it's also really helpful for that because it's a catapult forward in documentation. I mean, it's a humongous amount of documentation. And then it's all set up to be downloadable and editable so that you take it and you take that framework and then you layer in your own personality. And of course, if some little tweaky thing isn't for you, then you tweak that thing, and you make that for you. But it's that framework and that baseline, which, again, every single mindset coach or efficiency coach that I ever worked with was like, okay, and then document every single thing you do step by step by step by step so that you can duplicate yourself, right?
Right.
When it's just me, it's a hobby or a joy or a thing. And then when it's something I can start to train people and hire others and duplicate myself, now we've got a bit scalable business. So I finally said, but that's the hard part. Writing down every single step in a very complicated business that we're in. We have to be jack of all trades. We have to know a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of electrician. We have to know how to price something. We have to know how to negotiate with vendors, communicate with vendors, trades, everyone.
Right.
So it's the framework for all of that. And then it's all the process. It's the never forgetting to get a CFA and to make sure you have every single order acknowledged. I mean, it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper into all the levels.
And that's the thing. It's funny because I wonder if it's there. It's funny. Both of those situations seem familiar to me. And of course, there's a dozen people that I spoke to about it that they heard your other episode on the podcast and then reached out. And I remember one woman impressing me the same way. She's saying, I remember both conversations similar. So I don't know if they're the same people or not, but one coming from another career and saying, look, I know how to do what I've been doing the last X amount of years. And I know it's important to do things the right way, the same way in a system. And I don't need to spend the next 5 years reinventing the wheel. If Sandra, from House of Funk has invented the wheel, I'll take 2 wheels, please, and let's get rolling down the track, right? And then the other thing was with the more seasoned interior designer, it's really understanding that, even Window Works, to your point, almost 40 years in business, so many things systemized. But I made the joke that, one of our goals for 2020 was to completely, in writing, revamp our systems because we still had our operations manual, but it was from 1980. Like, it didn't mention the word fax or cell phone or email, you know what I mean? And of course, it's all been adapted for the technology that we use now, but it wasn't adapted in writing. And as to your point, how can I train a team behind me to be highly efficient? They can be efficient, but I'm not interested in efficient. I'm interested in highly efficient so that we all do things what we call the Window Works way. And for you, it's the standard, and I love it. So both very valuable, whether you're starting out or you're looking to, just like I said, you could just be frustrated that you're the only person in the building that knows how something gets done. And it's a bear to put your own business to a system if you've never done it. So why not just take a business model that's running and that is, producing and is organized and duplicate it, right?
Exactly.
So let's get into, is there something that we could use as an example, Sandra, like a specific process in the way that you have it within the standard that's a designer listening could be like, but I don't get it. Like, what level of documentation are we talking about here?
Mm-hmm. So I think the most important feature of the standard is the flat fee calculator. So we not only outline exactly how a flat fee should be structured, from your design agreement is included, and then the entire process supports the execution of that design agreement. And this is something that I had a major come to Jesus moment. I like to call it my rock bottom, when I had I had a really tough couple of client interactions where it was clear to me that I needed to provide a more client-centric service. And what that meant to me was my clients were not happy with the drip, drip, drip of invoices. It was really, really hard to send invoices out to a client after I've gutted their kitchen, for instance, and it's the middle of winter and they're on their 90th night of takeout and everyone is just weary. So it was kind of this idea, it was this aha of, listen, I've been in business at that point 10 years. I certainly had enough data to go back on and look at and crunch through. And I know that the past, predicts the future, right? So I can go back and I can say, okay, I can look at the data and I know I can predict a flat fee. So I created this calculator, my little nerd finance Excel obsession coming through. And then I didn't just create it and then launch it. I created it and used it for years and years and years and constantly went back and checked the numbers, and they are dead on. They are right. So now here's the deal. So then I explain to these designers exactly how to do it, and then it's the contract that supports it, and then it's the processes that take you through it step by step by step. It's not only that flat fee calculator and all that, it's every word that I use to explain it to the potential clients, to sell it to the potential clients, and then to the exact wording that goes when I send over the invoice to kick off the project, the exact wording that goes into the invoice when I'm saying, okay, your conceptual design meeting is 2 weeks out, your final balance due on design is ready to go, send this, do that. Like it's every single client communication templated, because I want it done by my team, but I want me coming through. So I've been working towards that and working through that for years and years and years. And, just really trying to make sure that I'm in all of that. And so again, it's all there for the designers. They can take that and then add their flavor and their personality.
Well, what's so interesting about that? First of all, me with words. This is like the Sales for Creatives course I taught last summer. It's every mastermind that I lead. It's every Power Talk Friday. It's every one-on-one coaching thing that I do. It's the number one thing that comes up over and over again is, how do I do this? Or this went wrong and I don't know why. And I can always pull it down to the way you presented something, or the words you said, or the words you missed, right? And so I love that, because that to me is like a chess game of figuring that out. How could I word this so that everything that I want to come through comes through, but what it moves the project, the conversation, the interaction to the direction that's going to be better for both us, the business owner, and our client. But what's interesting is that you actually, it's funny, all the conversations we've had about this, and I've never picked up this nuance, that you have templated those conversations so that when Kate or Sarah or anybody on your team sends the email out, it comes from you in your words. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
So that's interesting. That's interesting, Sandra, because I like it. Let's go there. Okay. Because I will sometimes read the emails, whether it's at WindowWorks or at the podcast, and I'll be like, that's not how we say that.
Well, that's not exactly
right. It's like, that's not exactly the thing. But I've always thought to myself, well, Lou, you got to keep teaching them to see the forest through the trees. Like, they're focused on the answer they want to give and not the result that they want to get from the conversation. But it never occurred to me to just say, look, here's the template. And insert client name, insert sponsor name, insert vendor name, and use these words.
Well, this is what was going on for me. I was doing it that way, right? But then I would have, quote unquote, difficult client. And I'd say, you know what? That one's a little touchy. Why don't you ping me a draft of the email?
Yes.
Before you send it. So then here I am. I'm like a copywriting editor.
Right.
And that's not also what I want to do with my life, right? So what happened was I would go through and I would perfectly carefully tiptoe around. And again, these email templates that I have now put out in the standard have been picked at my clients for 15 years in my own business, 20 years if I was writing them before in the other people's businesses. And so for 15 years, they've been picked at, and they've been iterated and perfected and nudged and nuanced. Yep. And so anyway, back in the day, I'm having somebody, send it to me first and I'll give it a look. And I was rewriting it, and I was just my nature. I would grab that email and I'd throw it into Asana with the title saying, no, we can't, no, we can't take payment after we deliver, response to, I'll pay you at the delivery. Oh, hell, instead of someone saying, oh, hell no, I wrote this nice thing that says I need to get your payment, process it. I need to pay my vendors, then process it. And then the delivery shows up, whatever that was, whatever that was. Right. And I just started,
throwing them
into Asana. And then, then it started becoming, well, this belongs in this column and that belongs in this category. And then the timing, this is going to be sent out 3 weeks prior to delivery, and that's going to go out this time. And it just started, it was the puzzle. It just started to come together. Or I would be, like what I do with a room design. I'm not going to start a budget with a blank sheet of paper. I'm going to go back to the last master bedroom I did and grab that and go, okay, this one's a little bigger. Okay, we're going to have a seating area too. Great. done, done, done. This one's a little smaller. I'm going to remove the bench at the end of the bed, and I'm always working from something. I don't like blank sheets of paper.
Yes.
They make me sad.
No, it's true. I mean, it's terrific. I love it because I do the same. I have either that where I say, you craft it and I'll tweak it, or worse, I'll say, you can't answer that one. I'll have to answer it. And then it sits there for, 2 days or 2 weeks. And then, Lisa will say, you haven't answered. So I'm like, I know, I'm still thinking. Because I know I'm the one that has to do it. And then I'm like busy running like a mile a minute. That's great. I never thought to actually start to do that.
Yeah, and there's probably not one question out there that you haven't at least answered once before. Right. So why not?
Right.
Why not have something to start from?
Well,
and I don't set them all out cold. Like,
yeah.
It's good to see you at the market, blah, blah, blah. Like, we add real life to it. But it's good to have a not blank sheet of paper when we're starting.
Well, and it's true, though, because there are certain things that you do run into in your business over and over. And to just know that your team has the core of the intent of your message, because I've said it before on the podcast, I call them dumbass PR pitches. I can't tell you the number of times a PR company will be like, oh, my client is this amazing designer and his aesthetic is, this and that and the other thing. And he loves to talk about his inspiration, how he finds inspiration from going to Italy. And I'm like, but I love, it says is, and we're big fans of your show. And I'm like, really? Are you though? Because I don't talk about that stuff.
Right. Because we're not going to sit around talking about your inspiration.
Right.
We're talking about business. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And so the thing is, but the point is, it's no different than you with a client. Just because a client doesn't understand that they can't pay after the installation, you don't want that client to be mishandled or mistreated. You want it to be said in a respectful way. And I might call it a dumbass PR thing, but I still want it handled nicely and respectfully. And I'm 100% sure that this client has something to teach us, but you just didn't tell us. So, but that PR, response really is one of the few things that we have thought to template, is my point.
Right, because that one comes in all the time,
yes,
right? When you don't truly get it.
Yes. But that to think that there are, when you really analyze your interior design business, there's probably half a dozen things or more that come in, and just the time saved. I remember Melissa Lindsay from Pimlico. She's in our mastermind, right? She's not in your mastermind. She's in the other group, right? Sorry.
That's okay.
But she was on the show and she talked about the hard conversations, and she did the same thing. She said, I just started to develop a little cadre of emails, this conversation, and you pull it out and you tweak it, but to have it all there for you for all the different things. So that's pretty awesome. So what other kinds of things? So I have not used Asana. My team uses Asana, but you know me in technology. I'm like, is it in Asana? Just do it, but I'm not going to do it. So the thing is I understand. Am I right about this? If the step A has to be done, say a junior designer does step A, and then a senior designer or lead designer is supposed to take step B, and then you as the principal maybe take step C. When the one person does a step in Asana and they mark it completed, Asana kicks it to the next person and says, you're up. Am I correct?
I think there's a bunch of different ways to use Asana. We actually built our whole platform on the free version because we didn't want it to make it one more barrier to entry. Mm-hmm. So ours is not dynamic like that, but what we have is in the bottom of that Asana, it says when this is done, you're going to reassign who you're going to reassign it to so that they can take that and run with it. You manually
reassign it, but but I like, okay, so that's just as good. But I love the way your system is. It's by role. If you finish this, then the next person it goes to is the admin, or it's to the principal, or it's to the senior designer, whatever it is, right?
Correct. And if it's, if it's a high value task, I make myself in the template a follower so that I'm watching the progress go through.
Oh,
You don't want to be a follower on every task because, a
right.
lot of things you're like, never mind, I don't have time to be overseeing that. But anything of high value, client interaction, pricing, all of those things that are really important to keep an eyeball on, you just make yourself a follower and then you're watching as life happens.
Right. So then you can bop in and out and
Hmm.
review and see what's going on. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Now I know that you have one of the systems that you have in your business, and of course I'm sure it lives in the standard, is that you have your House of Funk norms. So that when anybody is designing under you, there are X amount of things that you are just, this is, I know, I remember one time you were telling me that all tile has to be natural tile or something like that. I don't know if I'm saying it the right way.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
does
yeah.
that live in your Asana, and did you build that into the standard as well, so that now maybe the person who joins the standard has to put their norms in, but do you give that outline in that process as well?
So we have a certain level of that. I don't take it as far as the aesthetic, like the fact that I always am going to prefer natural tile over a synthetic. So specifically, I'm in the middle of building the dream home, and the spec builder, before I got my hands on it, had like faux Calcutta gold tile in the master bathroom, and I'd much rather have. Um, a lower grade stone and have it be real than have
Mm,
it be faux, because I can see it from 100 miles away. I can see faux stone, so I was
right,
like, we're gonna switch that. And so that I think of as aesthetic, but
right.
what I do have in there is things like for window treatments, like I always want lined and interlined. I want 2 to 3 times fullness whenever possible. I like it to there's kind of three widths in my mind: a 2 to 3 inch break, kissing the floor, or Swiffer length if there's like dogs, kids, or we've got crazy lady who's got OCD. That's all built in. So those are in my request for quote templates, and it's things like every single light fixture that we touch on a new project will have a dimmer involved, and what my standard dimmer is that I prefer. And then it's the quality of light bulb that I prefer. I like an LED 2700 Kelvin, like those things are in my request for quote. Things like putting a outlet behind a toilet. We're moving into the world of toilet, what do you call it? What's the thing on the top? The
uh,
bidet seat tops.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're creeping in, but man, when that toilet paper shortage hit, I was like, I'm fine. I'm all set. Got my washlet. No problem. We will survive at the Levy house. So yes. Washlets, bidets, washlets,
Oh,
whatever, toilet seat modifications. But like little things like that, I can see that's coming. So I'm not going to build a house or do a renovation where there's not a outlet nearby, low, behind. Why not?
right,
It's like
right,
it could
right.
be on the sidewall or it could be right there. Easy breezy. So little things like that, yes, they're built in. And those are those things that over the many, many years of doing design, like how I want my grout done and how I want stone set and things like that. Yeah. Why have to remember to say it every time? It's just in our templates.
That's the thing. And so, to your point, each designer that comes to the standard, they're going to put their own aesthetics in and their criteria in, but just the idea that it's templated and then go in for each product and create what lines up with your type of design. But the idea is that there's the template to do it, and that's half the battle, is just remembering to do all that stuff. And of course it speaks to your whole, everything that you do is about efficiency and about somebody else being able to do it in your place or move the project along, where you don't have to have fingers on every step, but knowing that it's always going to be to your design standard as well as your professional business standard, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what we talk about, joy and efficiency. And the joy comes from being able to sleep through the night because they're not going to forget to, have the shade sitting at XYZ height or whatnot, because it's all in the standard, right? They're not going to miss the CFA. They're not going to prime the walls as close to the wallpaper cover color as possible. So in case there's any splitting whatsoever, it's like less noticeable, like all the things. And
Yes.
and it's because our industry is so diverse in the fact that we need, like I said, we need to know a little bit about wallpaper, window treatments, plumbing, electrical, building, furniture, lighting. It's crazy. And it's crazy making. But when you get a little nugget of knowledge because you're paying attention on a job site and you're listening to your vendors and trades, jot that down and then keep it forever. Don't let it go.
Right.
So
Well, it's so funny because
cumulative.
I love that you do that, and I've observed you doing that all these years. And of course, I don't know if everybody knows, but you have a chapter in the new book coming out, the next Power Talk Friday Experts book coming out. And when I wrote the intro for your particular chapter, the book will be out in November.
Yay.
But I know, right? But when I wrote the intro for your particular chapter, one of the observations that I made was I remembered the very first time I met you for a project measure, and you called and said that you heard about us from somebody, I don't remember who, and what I wrote in the chapter was how I noticed how much you knew about window treatments, even though I knew you didn't know about window treatments. In other words, there's designers that I've met that have done window treatments that have I've used to order at my own. I used to measure on my own. I've got one of the designers I'm thinking of right now for years, had her own accounts, everything. But as her business grew, she was just it's almost like what I always say. You had to paint a wall. Are you going to paint the walls for your client just because you know how to do it? And so she got to the point where she was like, right, let's let you handle this. But the thing was, it usually is, a designer will know everything because they personally have measured, ordered, received, and installed, or they know almost nothing and they're okay with that, which I'm okay with that because that's my job and that's what we're supposed to do. But you knew more than your average bear.
Why, thank you.
and how many years ago is that? And I remember, and I think Kim was with me on the appointment. As a matter of fact, I'm sure she was. And I remember getting into the car and I said, that's a smart one right there. I said, we got to do right by her. I said, and make sure that we earn her business. And it was part of that. There was a lot that impressed me that day, but part of it was that you were asking detailed questions. If it made sense, you said okay, and if it didn't, you asked me to explain to you why. And now, all these years later, it's because you were internally always, everything you're doing, like you said, learning from your trades and logging the information and creating the things that you could come up the next time and just say, Lou, don't forget this because this is how I like it. Remember you told me it does this and does that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did tell you that.
Exactly. And I remember being a design student way back, and I was sitting in a basement at Parsons in the city, and there was a designer there taking courses, but she had kind of been a designer and then was going to school, so she'd had a little success. And at one point I was saying to her, how do you, and she said, never be ashamed to say, oh, I'm not sure whatever, how that dimmer switch works, or how to install a window treatment, or insert whatever there. Kindly say, and I'd be interested, would you talk me through it while you do it? I'd love to soak up some knowledge and learn. And it's my nature, but she just gave me the confidence to say, we can't come out of the gate knowing everything that we're asked to know.
Right.
You have to be humble. You have to be honest with yourself and with those around you, and you have to listen and learn. I think it really, really, there's so much value in mentorship in this industry because of that, because of just how much there is to learn.
It is. I can't even fathom. I've said it 1,000 times on the show. The number of details in a window treatment, I can't even fathom that that's one portion of what you do. It's ridiculous, frankly. To think that we are overwhelmed by our details, and that's okay, Lou, that's like a 92nd of what we do on a project. It's nuts. And so for you to take all of this 20 years of experience as an interior designer and capture it all in such an insane level of detail is what an accomplishment, honestly, on your part as a personal thing, as a human being, honestly, Sandra.
Thank you so much. You know, it's funny. We were talking earlier about how I rushed the standard out a month early, and you're right.
Yeah.
I I rushed the launch
Right.
because we'd been building it for 18 months before we launched.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I knew that. I knew that. I knew it was ready. It was just actually the marketing and get it out the door and the technology to get in front of everybody. That
Exactly.
thing
And it was honestly, it was uploading the final, the final, and it was cutting the marketing, the launch marketing. We had to cut it
Right.
so much. We couldn't send an email every, 2 a day, and they were
Right.
already written. So it was like, you had to choose between your favorite children and which email you're going to cut. And it was partly that. It was the working around the clock, trying to streamline flow and update dates. And you've done a million of these.
Yeah, that's funny. I can imagine you guys doing it too. That's funny.
Oh.
So tell me a little bit about, do you have were there any particular moments for you during the course? Because part of the standard, Sandra, is that the designers get to interact with you and with each other. Tell us a little bit about how that goes and if you had any particular observations on that process.
Yes, definitely. And it's an update since we spoke last because we kind of did this as a demo, this first class. We weren't sure if we would absolutely love it and want to keep doing it or find it, like not the thing. But what we ended up with is that we have regularly interval Zoom calls as a community, and they are to build that community. They are to encourage one another, and there's a lot of Q&A in the beginning. It's funny. We've had probably 4 or 5 now, and they were heavy Q&A in the beginning, and now they're so much more social and collaborative, right? And encouraging, We had one the other day where the designer was saying, okay, I have to send this email to the client. It's like a $65,000 design fee. I have never pitched a number that big for design fees. It's always, been an estimate and hourly and and like, I'm having a little panic attack and we're on a live Zoom. And one of the other designers says, well, of course, we're all staring at our computers. She goes, dude, is your computer close? Maybe we could all be here together while you hit the send button. Like, it was so hysterical. It was like real time, just trying to get everybody on the same page. And then when somebody signs a contract and the whole Facebook page goes wild, I mean, it is fun.
Oh, my goodness.
Really, really fun. And it's collaborative and it's beautiful. I think that's one of the biggest things is that sense of community. So we weren't sure we would do the private Facebook group. We are committed to it. It's been an amazing vehicle for us to communicate and stay connected and encourage one another. And the Zoom calls are live and fun and really informative and, kind of get into the nitty gritty. Of course, this entire, whatever this has been, a couple months, crazy 2020 storm, we have been doing what we always do, right? Writing down the regularly frequently asked questions, updating, doing new voiceovers, adding more detail to places, increasing our FAQs, clarifying. So the beauty of the standard is that just like the business model, we're going to iterate and refine, and every single year it just keeps getting better and better and better and deeper and wider.
Wow.
And it's lifetime access. So every single time we re-roll it, everyone has those updates at their fingertips.
That's amazing. So just like in our real businesses, now you've done this over 15 years, is, edit, revise, reiterate, iterate, blah, 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 make it better. You're doing that now with the standard in real time as designers are giving you feedback, and maybe one module, 14 out of 20 designers ask the same question. You're like, we might want to put that in that module.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible commitment to the work, because I already know what level of detail exists in this thing. And so to take that and really say, no, if this many people are asking this question, it needs to be addressed. So are you saying that, so just me here in the weeds, for all the designers that have the first iteration of the standard, have you been revising it in real time, or now when it launches again in September of 2020, all the new things will be put into it and they just have access all over again?
So if something really needed clarity, we were sharing it as an email uploading it into the standard, of course. So it was just living there where it belongs, and then communicating it via both our email and on the Facebook page. So we've been updating them real time, but also like all the final bells and whistles and just every little itty bitty refinement will come to every new launch. But really, if we have that update ready and we have that little, even if it's a silly little thing like a spelling error, we may as well get them the updated one right now, and just throw a little note saying, hey guys, we clarified points A, B, and C on this doc. Like, we noticed there was a couple extra questions on that, so we just went ahead and did it and check it out.
Okay.
So yeah, because why not? We're doing it, and what we don't want to do is turn it into some big 18-month program to update it. I don't want to get in a situation where we're like, time to update the standard. Like, it's just constantly evolving, and it's a beautiful thing. It's how our whole business model has always been.
That's awesome. It's like you time block to work on your business every week. You time block time to work on the standard every week and make it better and make your improvements. And so it's always up to date rather than, like you said, just, okay, here's our 90-page things of all the things we have to do to the standard, right?
Oh, yeah. If we were just keeping some side lists and then had to get to that to-do list, I'd be in a small ball under my desk again. That wouldn't be good.
I love it. My goodness. I love it. And so have you had anything that, well, first of all, here's one thing I want to say, just to say out loud. One of the things that I have said to any designer who's called me and asked me my opinion of it, if after the conversation I really say, you know what, I think, because first of all, let me just tell you this. I've had people that said, no, it's not for you. It's not for you. Like you had that conversation with the lady. I'm like, you're not going to do it. It's not for you. You don't need it, blah, blah, blah. But I've had people that I've said, I really do believe that this is good, and I think it would help you, and it would really move your business forward, and you would feel confident. But if you're not going to do the work, this is not a watch a video and your business is transformed. This is putting in the hours to make your business the duplication of this, right?
Absolutely. But with that and with everything, there's no product out there. There's no coach. There's no thing where you just sit and watch a pretty video and your life is transformed, right? It's always about the doing.
Right. Right.
So
no, it's like if you took a 4-year program of interior design school, you go in, you're going to work your fanny off, and you're going to do drawings, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. And, so for the standard, it is there. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to wonder. You don't have to connect the dots, but you do have to go in and build your own asana, and you do have to go in and do these templates. And to your point a few moments ago, when you said you've got it templated to sound like Sandra at House at Funk. Somebody needs to template that, and just one time. You just have to sit in it and make it sound like Sally Smith. You need to make it sound like you. How would you say it, right?
Exactly. And the beautiful thing about Asana is we use this kind of like, coupled program called Templana, which it in one click, the whole template is downloaded into your Asana account. But then what we typically say and what we've seen is the next project you sign started at square one. And then you'll naturally revise that email, revise it in the template, copy it over to that project, boom, you're done. You don't have to set aside 4 weeks. You could just work it through as you go through the project.
Oh, see, that's clarity. I didn't know that. I remember someone asking me that, and I was like, I don't know. Maybe you should email Sandra. Because that's an interesting thought. What you're saying is I don't have to just sit back and take my Starbucks and put all my machinery in and do all that. I can start with any project right where I am, start using it, build it right from where I am, and then the next project, maybe the project that was going on when you bought your standard, you were at already, say, execution phase or whatever that phase is called, expediting phase, right? Mm-hmm. But the next project starts at hello. And so you can be using the standard from halfway point in one project and from start point at another project, and it would make sense and you could do it, or no, Lou, that's not what you meant.
No, you can. Oh. So what we found is that you can jump in with your projects and just it's almost like a benchmark. If you're already under a contract and you're already in a process, you can pop into wherever they are in that process and then move it forward. You're going to have some discrepancies, right? Unless your contract happens to look exactly like mine. There might be some timing discrepancies, some payment terms discrepancies, and et cetera, et cetera. But it can still give you that structure and all those email templates and all the communication templates, our Friday email and all of what that includes, like just all the things. And it's a really good, it just feels really comfortable and confident to know that you're not missing anything, because we've been banging on this for 20 years now, right? And but the kind of like the holy grail, according to the people who've gone through the standard, is to sign your next client. Start with the potential client module, work them all the way through that, sign them, and then work them all the way through the full service process module from start to finish. And once you've gone through both the potential client and the full service process with one fresh new client, everything has been customized to you, because you just, it's taking you no longer than writing an email to say XYZ. It's just now you've got a template that you're going to customize instead of starting with a blank sheet of paper.
Very interesting. And I recall one designer asked me and said that a little trepidation about being comfortable with the technology and, being so reliant on Asana. And is it really like, you know me with tech, I can't. I opened it up one day and I went, no, you guys all use this. You just tell me that you did it. I'll be happy. So, but it's because I don't have the patience to do it. That's the thing. And so,
but you were also looking at a blank Asana, right?
Yes, I was.
So what we do is we hand them a structure. It's the whole thing. It's already built out. They literally make a copy, duplicate project for every new potential client on the potential client module, and duplicate project for every client that's going through the program. And it's not a blank sheet of paper. It's not like how do I use this? What? Who? It's like, I need to send them a copy of the signed contract because they signed it. Now I have to countersign and send it back. Okay, cool. Step one, real clear. Boom, check off. There we go. Here we go. And it doesn't hand you blank technology that you then have to build out or figure out. It's figured out for you. And then, of course, we did a video showing you how to use it, showing you how to download, showing you how to upload, showing you how to edit. We not only give you the templates, but we also do a tutorial on every new piece of tech that we introduce.
Wow. So do I understand you correctly? I understood previously that, yes, I'm going to be in the standard and I'm going to see the fully blown out Asana that your business runs on, but then I'm going to have to go into a blank Asana and basically read it and then print, type it into my Asana. Are you saying that you actually just hit duplicate and it repopulates in my Asana account?
Yep. You download the whole thing.
OMG. Did you want to start at a standard for podcasting? I mean, I'm just saying. Whoa.
Could do together, Lou.
Oh my good. No, Sandra, I knew that it was all there, but I have been warning people that, look, don't spend the money and have it sit there in a module and not go ahead and do the work. So the work is duplicate. That's the work. Click duplicate.
Duplicate and personalize.
No, I'm so sorry I didn't understand that before.
No, that's okay. We wanted to hand. I know how busy entrepreneurs are, right? You and I both know.
Yes.
And I didn't want to hand them a big stack of more crap to do because I knew it was never going to get done. And I was not going to have successful, happy, joyful designers who went through the program and got anything out of it if they had this mountain to climb. So it was we were only doing it if. And it had to be duplicate, go. And we're there.
Oh my goodness. I told you weren't charging enough for it. Now I know you're not. I am not kidding. Whoa. No, I really thought that somebody, it was it's all there, but you have to enter it. I had no idea you could hit duplicate and your own Asana would populate with all of that blown out system.
All the systems, all the words, all the emails written, typed, ready to go.
That's amazing.
Get in there and add your name. Mm-hmm.
I actually am so sorry that I did not realize it, but I'm so grateful that it came out in this conversation, because that's a slam dunk. It was a slam dunk already. That's a major slam dunk. And you definitely have to do one for a podcast. I should do one for a podcast.
Right? Seriously.
Whoa, that's
so
amazing.
Good.
That's
so
amazing. Good. I love it. Oh my goodness. Sandra, is there anything else? I mean, first of all, launch date. What's launch date?
Launch date this time is September 16th, and we are open for less than 2 weeks. And this program begins, and they can start downloading away on September 30th.
Okay, so let's go over through this again. Why? You do this open, this registration open and close date. And the reason is because there is a lot of interaction with you when it starts. And of course, you can't have somebody starting on August 1st and somebody on September 1st and somebody on October 1st, because you would be like, well, that would not be a very efficient process. And of course, that's completely against your nature. So for a designer listening, this is a very intentional purpose of having an open date and a start date and a close date on the registration, so that that's where I got that word class. But so the group goes through it together, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we really felt that it was, there's a lot of these aha moments in this kind of opening up, and it's this perspective, again, that whole client-centric perspective, and getting your head around all of this. It really helps to be in a collaborative group while doing it. And we now know that because we've been through it, but we originally were doing the open cart, close cart method because we know we need to still run a design firm. And we knew that we couldn't be like, I think we did enough research, and we knew enough to know that we were going to be super busy with designers' questions and communication, and we were going to be, in the selling and in that launch mode, but we couldn't live there. And
Right.
We need to get back to our design firm, and we need to create a feeling of community and collaboration. And so we knew if we had them just trickle in, that feeling of, I always think about my silly, I'm like nerd alert again, but I was in a co-ed business fraternity and in college, and that is the nerd alert right there. And, I just think about my pledge class, like that whole thing is about going through a transformation together, and that's what bonds you to other people. And so we have, coast to coast, United States and Canada. I'm really, really hoping we go, across the pond this next time as well. But we've built this incredible network of designers who are now all running their businesses apples to apples and can have these really incredible conversations about specific experiences without having to explain, well, but I do it hourly, or I do it this way, or I do that, or I don't do this commission, or I do that. It kind of levels the playing field. And again, it's all of us being able to speak about our businesses with the same standards.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Well, and it also, from your standpoint of, yes, I hear all of that about having a group come together and to bond and to share and to ask questions. But to your point, you're running a business and you want to give the most support you can to the designers who come on board and purchase the standard. And you know that there's a certain onboarding period where there's lots of information and questions. And how can you allocate time to that and allocate time to your own design projects? And this way you manage your pipeline. It's like, okay, this month or two period, we're going on to the standard. So you're probably not knee deep into 3 or 4 startups or 3 or 4 expediting prices, whatever process is the most difficult process to be in, right? So that's awesome. I love that. That's so smart. And it does also too, really ensure success for the designer who gets involved in the standard, to know that you are going to be there for that beginning phase of hand-holding, and then to have the collaboration of the group that joins with you. It's the same thing like when I say on the Power Talk Friday tours, you're going to be 6 or 8 or 9 or 10 designers. Yours, I'm sure, are much more than that. Ours are, well, they used to be in-person events. We'll see.
Right.
But the idea is that it's not only the interaction with me and the other business coaches that I bring, it's the people that you meet become your buddies too. And now you can pick up the phone and call them and interact with them, schedule work jams, whatever you want to do with your designer colleagues to increase your productivity. So that's awesome. That's outstanding. I love it. So good.
Thank you. Yeah, we are having the most fun. I mean, it just feels incredible to, like I always used to say, like, it seems silly to have worked all this out and to have gone through all of these trial and errors and all these hard lessons that sometimes it took me 5 to get through my thick skull and not then turn around and share it. And so that part has been incredible.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I tell you, it's an incredible accomplishment and an incredible body of work that you have put together, and to then turn around and put it out there for any designer who wants to cut their like you said, their mistakes in half and their learning curve in half and just set themselves up for success. It's outstanding. I love it. So exciting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so interiordesignstandard.com/LuAnn. So I love it, Sandra. Thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck on the next launch.
Thank you so much. I can't wait. I'll see you on the other side.
Well, you can tell that I was blown away by what Sandra has done with the standard. I mean, one of the things that I really loved about the program is this idea of all her templates, okay? This might just be coming because I do have an obsession with words, and because I know the communication that we have with people in business is so important, okay? Every single person I coach, I mastermind with, every time I discuss a problem with a designer, first we break it down. And at the core, it comes down to the words we choose that get the communication on track or off track, right? It's always about the way it's presented, all right? And so I just love that Sandra has incorporated these templates for you. So especially if you are newer in business and you haven't hit all of these road bumps, staring at an uncomfortable email from a client, it could kind of stop you in your tracks for a while. And to know that an experienced, seasoned designer has not only been in this situation so many times, but is willing to share the words that she has used to resolve these conflicts. I mean, that is just gold in them there hills, as they say. Okay. So, and the other thing, oh my goodness, the other new piece of information was this click and duplicate. Like, I was blown away. I actually should have expected that from Sandra. I really should have. However, I did not get that. I guess that's my lack of tech, right? Like, I just didn't know that it was possible. So the idea that, all of this is here in the Asana and it's click and duplicate. Whoa. I mean, I was listening to the show and I'm thinking, I wish I were in an interior design firm and somebody could that's insane. That is so insane. So either way, you know what it is. You still have to put your stamp on it, right? But when you think about all of the information that's in here and, that you're just not starting with that blank page. That's what we say all the time. It's the blank page. It's like, get me off the blank page. Well, I'm going to tell you what. With the interior design standard, you are off the blank page, okay? And then the other thing I thought was really funny is that when I asked her, have they been making the changes in real time? Are they collecting them and, going to do a different version? And she just like nonchalantly, oh no, we figured if there's changes to be made, we may as well get everyone the update now. I mean, that is the thing. It's this level of service and commitment that she has always shown to her interior design clients. And now she's showing it to you if you're one of her clients in the interior design standard. All right. So I just have to say, I love this. I think it's amazing to have all of these documents and templates and stuff. And of course, if you've been struggling to get your business processed and organized, then this really could be the answer. All right. You know that if you're not sure, you can call me, you can DM me, email me. Email me is probably best because then it goes through Lisa and then I eventually see it. But you know what? Don't hesitate to reach out to Sandra either. $39.89. First of all, worth every penny. worth probably about 5 times that. But it's still a lot of money, right? It's still a lot of money. And so you want to make sure, if you are unsure, that you ask, and don't hesitate to reach out to either one of us to ask about it, okay? I'm sure she could also put you in touch with some of the designers that have been going through it, and you can really get an understanding of the actual tremendous value of it. All right. So if you decide it's for you, then go to interiordesignstandard.com/LuAnn. Okay. interiordesignstandard.com/LuAnn. The window for registration enrollment opens September 16th. Okay, and closes September 28th. So this is like this little window of time. And I didn't think to ask her when she would be opening it again. So if you want in, don't hesitate. All right. And then I also want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Article. Because if you need mid-century Scandinavian inspired furniture for your projects, where do you go? You go to Article, right? And how do you do it? Well, you go to welldesigned.article.com. That's how you open your trade account at Article, welldesigned.article.com. All right. And you know the things I love about Article. Quick, fast delivery. The trade program is run by Jillian, who used to be an interior designer. So she gets you. She knows your language. She knows what's going on. And she understands, furniture emergencies happen. And she knows how to solve the problems. Okay. So set up your trade account today, welldesigned.article.com. And before I go, I just really want to mention LuAnn University. Okay, this fall we've got classes on cloud-based software accounting, aka QuickBooks. Okay, design build. We've got Desi Cresswell, who's teaching confidence and mindset. When you send that email, if you don't have a template from Sandra and you're sending an email and you're thinking, uh-oh, this feels icky, I'm not sure if it's going to work, that's that mindset. That's that confidence, right? So Desi is here to teach you through that, all right? So go to LuAnnNiagara.com, click on events and coaching, and you will see the different courses that we've got loaded up for September, all right? So, and I just have to say, I hope that you are giving some careful thought to being excellent today. I really do. Okay. There's lots of things in this show to help you make that step, right? So decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnnNiagara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.